Good morning, Alexus, Love, Beauties, and Flawless Man. Reading from Our Daily Bread in Psalms, chapter 40, verse 8. I delight to do thy will, O my God. Yeah, thy law is within my heart. While we don't understand all the ins and outs of how God deals with all of the reckoning that must take place, we know he will do so with perfect righteousness and justice and with finality. God sees that day and all that it will entail, and in his mercy, he holds back the promise of final judgment, desiring that people escape and be saved. Going back up into the reading in Psalms chapter 40, verses 8, I delight to do thy will. We internally want to do the will of God. Our soul really does want to do the will of our Father. We really prefer not to live like this, to struggle like this, to be sick like this. Come on, Jesus. To be broke like this, to be heartbroken like this. We desire to do God's will. And this is why even if you're a corrupt person, even if you have hardened your heart, there is still somewhere deep down inside that only you know. There's a feeling that only you have because we are made from God. So only you have that feeling, and only you and God knows that there is something deep within you that still desires the delight. You have a delight in wanting to do his will, but there's something holding that up. So we delight to do the will of God. Yeah, thy law is within thy heart. Again, it doesn't matter how corrupt you are. You know how you'll be talking to someone that's not the nicest person, or they're corrupt, or you just know that they have some maybe demonic spirits attached to them, but then they can still show up nice. You know how people are going through things and they can still show up happy, and you never know what they're going through. There is still love in their heart. But see, we get caught up in the strong delusion because we feel like we can bring that love out. We can help them and we can do things that we cannot, because it's only when that person decides to go to God and they begin to seek God and they ask God why they're so hurt. So only God can help heal someone on a deeper level like that. But we all have a delight deep down within our hearts to do the will of God. Going back and down into the reading, the person in their testimony said, we don't understand the ins and out of, the trials and tribulations that we have to go through. We don't understand why, what, when, where, how long, what caused this to happen, the different things that we go through in our life. We just know that we have to go through them. But we do know that he do so with perfect righteousness and justice, with finality. We know that all things work together for those that love God, and we have to remember to love God. Come on, Jesus, in order for those things to work and prosper in our favor. But we know that different things must take place, even though we don't understand them. We know that the Lord is patient. He's graceful and he's righteous. So the situation could have been 100 times worse, but because he is still a loving God and he's only trying to teach us a lesson, he's only trying to show us a lesson on how we can do things better. We still have to go through those tests. He allowed those tests to happen, but he does so with righteousness and justice. And at the end, the day got to end. So it's going to be over one day. The person in their testimony said, God sees that day and all that it will entail. In his mercy, he holds back his promise for a final judgment. The Lord, we don't even really got to be here, to be honest with you. But the Lord is so merciful. He's so graceful. He's so humble. He's so long suffering. We get long suffering and endurance from God. Those are the fruits of the Spirit. So imagine whatever you're going through, how long you've been going through that. But imagine how long God has been going through this. Looking at the world, seeing people being disrespectful, playing with his name, playing with his people, killing, stealing, and destroying. So we get that endurance and that long suffering from the Lord. That's one of the fruit of the Spirit that God has. We're not just making this up. These fruit of the spirits are God's characteristics. So even when things are going on, God knows that day before it started. He knew the breath you were going to take. He knew you were going to set back that alarm clock. He already knows the beginning, the end, and the middle of that day. And he has mercy on that day. And he holds back his promise of final judgment. The Lord could judge us all right now. And then nobody will make it nowhere to be trying to have time to fix nothing. But he is merciful. So he's holding back that judgment so we can still have time to live in the promises that he wants us to live in. The person in their testimony said, desiring that people escape and to be saved. Come on, Jesus. I had a conversation with a beautiful young lady the other day, and she said that the purpose of the devil is not to just kill everybody. It's not for him to just, every day just out here killing people and different things like that, right? People getting sick and different things like that. The ultimate goal of the enemy, because it doesn't serve him any favor, for us to just perish, for us to just give up the ghost. The ultimate thing that will be favorable unto Satan is for us to be fully alive, but to sin against God. So the enemy gets the pleasure out of sinning. He wins when we're sinning, when we don't try to fight those 7 deadly sins and the different things, and we're not following the laws and statutes on purpose. That is when the enemy gets favor. And so at that time, if you have not worked on those things and you're continuing to live that life, then you give up the ghost. Then that is when he has won your soul. So he's not just trying to take us out. This is why people be like, oh, I ain't even supposed to be here right now. That's the grace. That's the righteousness that the Lord has. And he's holding back that final judgment to give us time to do what it is that we need to do. So Alexus, obedience, and flawless man, when you do get time today, I encourage you to read Psalms chapter 40, verses 8. Understand that we cannot just continue to read, and the Lord told us that if we continue to do his work and we're not actually living out his characteristics, our demonstration is not holy, then that is a curse. So we do not want to be cursed. So the Lord is asking us to simply follow the laws and statutes, the 10 commandments, avoid the 7 deadly sins, and some other beautiful things. He doesn't ask too much of us. He asks us to work on our character, work on our heart. But Alexus, obedience, and flawless man, you can find those laws and statutes. You can find those 10 commandments. You can find those YouTube series of why the Lord is upset about his men and women being whores. You can find those things in our playlist section, because we go over the laws and statutes of the Lord. It's going to take time, but I always say start making time to become a new person. And that is when the Lord give you more grace, more favor, more mercy on your life to live a long life, because it is a journey. I love you. God bless you, and have a fantastic Monday.